Lisa Morgan sat in the back row of the xenobiology classroom, her notebook open and her eyes focused on the lecture. She looked like any other student at Galactic Zenith University. Her brown hair was tied back in a simple ponytail. Her clothes were plain and comfortable. Nothing about her stood out among the dozens of alien species that filled the lecture hall. Professor, a tall with silver skin and wise eyes, gestured at the holographic display. It showed a creature from a Class 4 world, all teeth and claws and venom sacs. The other students leaned forward with interest. Some took notes. Others whispered to their neighbors about how dangerous it looked. Lisa watched the display without any change in her expression. She had seen worse, much worse. But nobody here knew that, and she wanted to keep it that way. The sand viper, Professor said, his voice deep and calm, is one of the more dangerous predators from. Its venom can incapacitate most known species within minutes. We have 3 specimens in our biocontainment facility for study. You will observe them during your practical examination next week. A student near the front raised one of her 4 arms. It was with blue skin and large, kind eyes. Professor, have there been any incidents with the specimens? Never, replied with confidence. Our containment systems are the finest in the sector. You will all be perfectly safe. Lisa wrote something in her notebook but said nothing. She had learned long ago that silence was often the best choice. Draw no attention. Ask no questions that might make people curious about her. Just study, learn, and try to forget the past. The lecture ended and students began filing out, caught up with Lisa in the hallway. Are you nervous about the practical exam? Asked. Her empathic abilities let her sense emotions, but she always asked politely anyway. No, Lisa said simply. Should I be? Laughed a sound like wind chimes. I suppose not. You are always so calm. I wish I had your confidence. Lisa smiled but did not explain that it was not confidence. It was just perspective. When you had survived what she had survived, a controlled observation of a Class 4 predator did not seem frightening. They walked together across the campus. Prime was beautiful. The sky was a soft purple. 3 moons hung in the afternoon sky. Gardens filled with plants from 100 worlds lined the pathways. Everything was peaceful. Everything was safe. That was why Lisa had come here. After everything that had happened on Earth, after the colony, after the fires and the screaming and the months of waiting for rescue that never seemed to come, she wanted peace. She wanted to be somewhere that violence was just a concept in textbooks, not a daily reality. The practical examination came the following week. 20 students gathered in the biocontainment facility, a large building at the edge of campus. The walls were thick. The doors were reinforced. Warning signs in 12 languages covered every entrance. Inside, the facility was divided into sections. Each section held specimens from different worlds, all kept behind transparent barriers that were supposed to be unbreakable. The sand vipers were in Section 7, 3 long, scaled creatures that moved like liquid shadow across the sand in their enclosure. Professor led the group, explaining safety protocols that everyone had memorized weeks ago. Lisa listened anyway. Details mattered. Small things that others ignored often became important later. You will observe in groups of 5, said. Take notes on behavior, movement patterns, and feeding responses. Stay behind the barriers at all times. The students divided into groups. Lisa ended up with a named who was twice her size and 2 others she did not know well. They approached Section 7 ready. The vipers were impressive. Each one was nearly 2 meters long with scales that shifted color to match their environment. Their eyes were black and cold. When one of them opened its mouth, Lisa could see the venom sacs clearly, swollen and ready. The pressed closer to the barrier. His species were predators themselves, proud and confident. Not so dangerous, he said with a laugh. My people hunt creatures twice this size. Lisa said nothing, but she noticed something. One of the environmental control panels on the wall was blinking. It was a small thing. Most people would not notice it, but Lisa had learned to notice small things. The blinking meant a system error, a very small system error, probably nothing. Then the barrier flickered. It was just for a second, just a brief shimmer in the transparent wall, but Lisa's body reacted before her mind finished processing what she had seen. Her muscles tensed, her breathing slowed, her eyes tracked the nearest exit and then the locations of every person in the room. The barrier flickered again, longer this time. Professor, Lisa said, her voice cutting through the chatter. There is a problem with the containment field. Turned, his expression shifting from calm to concerned. He moved toward the control panel, but he was too slow. Old, careful, methodical, all good qualities in a teacher, not good qualities in an emergency. The barrier failed completely. For one heartbeat, nobody moved. The vipers, suddenly free, raised their heads and tasted the air. Their tongues flickered, their bodies coiled. Then someone screamed, and chaos erupted. Students ran in every direction. Some headed for the exits, others froze in panic. Stumbled backward, all his earlier confidence gone, pressed herself against the wall, her 4 arms wrapped around her body. The largest viper struck. It moved like lightning, its body uncoiling as it launched itself toward Troy, a young student who had tripped in his panic. The viper's mouth opened wide, fangs extended, venom already dripping. Lisa moved. She did not think about it. Thinking took time, and there was no time. Her body remembered every lesson her father had taught her in the Australian outback, every snake she had caught, every dangerous moment she had survived. She crossed the distance in 3 long strides and grabbed a containment pole from its rack on the wall. The pole was meant for herding specimens, a long rod with a U-shaped catch at the end. In Lisa's hands, it became a weapon. The viper was centimeters from Troy's throat when Lisa's pole caught it just behind the head. She pinned it to the ground with her full weight on the pole. The viper thrashed, incredibly strong, but Lisa held firm. Her feet were planted. Her grip was steady. "Sedative," she said, her voice calm and clear. "Someone get me a sedative injector, now." Professor, recovering from his shock, rushed to the medical cabinet. His hands shook as he opened it, but Lisa's did not. When he handed her the injector, she took it with one hand while keeping the pole pressed down with the other. The viper tried to twist around the pole. Its body whipped back and forth. The other 2 vipers were advancing now, drawn by the commotion. Students were still screaming. Alarms were blaring. But Lisa's world had narrowed to just this moment, this creature, this single action that needed to happen. She pressed the injector against the viper's scales and triggered it. The sedative hissed into the creature's body. For several long seconds, nothing happened. The viper continued to thrash. Then, slowly, its movements became sluggish. Its muscles relaxed. Its eyes dimmed. Lisa held the pole steady until she was certain the creature was fully sedated. Only then did she look up at the other 2 vipers. They had stopped advancing, confused by the bright lights and loud noises. A security team was rushing in with proper containment equipment. Lisa stepped back and lowered the pole. Her heart rate had barely increased. Her breathing was normal. She felt nothing except mild irritation that the examination had been interrupted. The security team secured all 3 vipers and checked the containment systems. Professor ushered the students out of the facility, his ancient face pale with concern. In the hallway, everyone was talking at once, their voices high with leftover fear and excitement. Stared at Lisa with wide eyes. "Your heartbeat," she whispered. "I could sense it. You were not afraid, not even a little." Lisa shrugged. It was just a snake. Just a snake. That creature's venom could have killed Troy in minutes. But it did not, Lisa said. She wanted to go back to her dormitory, to be alone, to push away the memories that the incident had stirred up. Memories of other predators. Other moments when seconds meant the difference between life and death. Approached, his large frame somehow looking smaller than before. "That was impressive, human. Where did you learn to move like that?" "Home," Lisa said simply, and walked away before he could ask more questions. That night, lying in her bed and staring at the ceiling, Lisa tried to convince herself that everything was fine. She had helped someone. She had stopped a dangerous situation. Nobody had been hurt. That was good. Found Lisa in the library 3 days after the incident. Sat down across from her without asking permission, her 4 hands folded on the table. "We need to talk," said quietly. Lisa looked up from her. "About what?" "About the fact that you showed no fear when facing a deadly predator. About the fact that you moved like you had done it 1,000 times before. About the fact that you are hiding something." Lisa closed her. The library was nearly empty at this hour, which was why she liked it. "I am not hiding anything illegal." "I did not say illegal, I said something," leaned forward. "I am your friend, Lisa. I want to understand. Where did you learn to do what you did?" There was genuine concern in his voice. Not judgment, not suspicion, just worry for a friend. Lisa had not had many friends in her life. The ones she had lost still haunted her dreams. Earth, Lisa said finally. I learned on Earth. But Earth is classified as a Class 12, said, and then her eyes widened. Oh, you actually grew up there. Most humans do. But the database says that Class 12 worlds are barely habitable. The mortality rate for visiting species is over 90%. How do humans survive there? Lisa smiled, but it was not a happy smile. We were born there, we adapted to it. What kills other species is just normal life for us. Was quiet for a moment, processing this information. Tell me about it, please, I want to understand. Lisa hesitated. She had spent 2 years at this university avoiding this exact conversation, but was patient and kind, and some part of Lisa was tired of carrying everything alone. I grew up in the Australian outback, Lisa said slowly. My parents ran a research station there. It is one of the harshest regions on Earth, hot during the day, cold at night, and filled with things that want to kill you. Things like the sand viper. The sand viper would be considered small and relatively harmless on Earth. Lisa saw, shocked expression, and continued. There are spiders on Earth smaller than your finger that can kill an adult human in hours. Snakes that can strike faster than most species can see. Plants that cause pain so intense people have killed themselves to make it stop. Blue skin had gone pale, and you lived there as a child. Yes, my father taught me which creatures were dangerous and which were just scary looking. My mother taught me how to read weather patterns and find water. By the time I was 8, I could identify 50 different types of venomous snakes by sight. That sounds like military training. No, Lisa said. That was just childhood. If you wanted to play outside, you needed to know what could kill you. It was normal. Shook her head slowly. Nothing about that sounds normal. Lisa had no answer for that. Normal was different for everyone. What seemed like a nightmare to had simply been her life. Why did you come here? Asked. To the university. To study, to learn, to be somewhere peaceful. Lisa looked around the quiet library. To be somewhere that every day is not about survival. Reached across the table and gently touched Lisa's hand. You are safe here, you know that, right? Lisa nodded, even though safety was not something she had ever fully believed in. Safety was temporary, peace was fragile. She had learned that lesson in Fire and Blood. Over the next week, word spread about the incident in the biocontainment facility. The story grew with each telling. Some versions had Lisa wrestling the viper with her bare hands. Others had her killing it instantly with a secret human technique. Lisa ignored all of it and focused on her studies. But the attention brought other problems, and his group of friends began following her around campus. We're a warrior species, proud of their strength and combat abilities. They did not like the idea that a small human had shown more courage than had. At first, it was small things. They would accidentally bump into her in hallways. They would make loud comments about weak species when she walked by. They would position themselves to block her path, forcing her to walk around them. Lisa recognized the behavior. It was dominance testing. Animals did it. Bullies did it. It was the same everywhere in the galaxy. She did not react. Reaction was what they wanted. So she simply went around them, kept her expression neutral, and continued with her day. This seemed to frustrate them more than any response would have. One afternoon, Lisa was leaving the biology building when 4 others blocked the main entrance. They were large beings, each one massing at least twice what Lisa did. Their scaled skin was dark red, and their eyes were the yellow of predators. Human, said, his voice loud enough to attract attention from other students. We need to talk about what happened in the containment facility. There is nothing to talk about, Lisa said calmly. Please move, I have class. You made me look weak, continued. You, a soft little creature from some unknown world, made a warrior appear cowardly. I did not make you do anything. You froze. That was your choice, not mine. Lisa kept her voice level and calm. Now please move. One of the other laughed. She has courage, I will give her that. His expression darkened. I challenge you to an honored duel in the training arena. Tomorrow at sunset, we will see if your courage holds when facing a real warrior. Lisa could have refused. Honored duels were voluntary, but she also knew that refusing would only make the harassment worse. Would not stop until he had restored his pride. Better to end this now. Fine, Lisa said. Training weapons, standard safety protocols. Agreed, smiled, showing all his teeth. I will try not to hurt you too badly, human. Lisa said nothing and walked past them. Behind her, she heard them laughing and making bets about how quickly the fight would end. She did not care. Let them think what they wanted. Words were just air. That evening, rushed into Lisa's dormitory room, her 4 arms waving in distress. You cannot fight, said urgently. He is a trained warrior. They are taught combat from childhood. He will hurt you. Maybe, Lisa said. She was reviewing her notes for tomorrow's xenobiology exam, which seemed more important than the duel. Maybe, Lisa, he is twice your size and 3 times your strength. This is not like facing a snake. He is intelligent, trained, and angry. Lisa looked up from her. I appreciate your concern, but I have fought before. I will be fine. Fought where, when? Lisa realized she had said too much. It does not matter. I agreed to the duel. I will do the duel. It will be over quickly. Yes, with you in the medical center, said miserably. Lisa reached out and touched her friend's arm. Trust me, please. Wanted to argue more, but something in Lisa's eyes stopped her. It was the same calm certainty that had sensed during the Viper incident. No fear, no doubt, just quiet confidence. The next day passed slowly. Lisa attended her classes and took her exam. She ate lunch in the cafeteria. She studied in the library. Everything was normal except for the constant whispers and stares from other students. Everyone knew about the duel. Everyone expected the human to lose badly. Professor found her an hour before sunset. Lisa, he said quietly, you do not have to do this. I can make this go away. With respect, Professor, that would only make things worse. He would see it as proof that I am weak. The harassment would continue. Studied her with his ancient eyes. There is something different about you, child, something old. I have lived for 3 centuries and trained thousands of students. You have the eyes of someone who has seen things that no one your age should have seen. Lisa met his gaze steadily. Yes, sir. And you believe you can defeat in combat? Yes, sir. Nodded slowly. Then I will be there to ensure the duel stays within the rules. But Lisa, be careful, is proud. Proud beings do dangerous things when humiliated. I know, sir. I will be careful. The training arena was full when Lisa arrived. Word had spread across campus, and students from dozens of species crowded the observation areas. Some were cheering for. A few were cheering for Lisa. Most just wanted to watch the spectacle. The arena floor was covered in soft matting designed to prevent serious injury. Weapon racks lined the walls, filled with training versions of various species' traditional weapons. Everything was blunted, weighted to reduce harm, and monitored by safety systems. Was already there, warming up with practice swings of a war club. The training version was still intimidating, a heavy rod with a padded striking surface. In his hands, it moved like it weighed nothing. Lisa walked to the weapon rack and selected a simple short staff. It was lighter than what carried, but reach mattered more than weight in most fights. Professor stood at the edge of the arena. This is an honor duel under standard university protocols. The fight ends when one combatant yields, is disarmed, or is rendered unable to continue. Deliberate strikes to the head, neck, or spine are forbidden. Lethal techniques are forbidden. Do both combatants understand the rules? Yes, said his voice confident. Yes, Lisa said quietly. Then begin. Charged immediately, his war club raised high. It was an aggressive opening meant to overwhelm his opponent with pure strength and speed. The crowd roared. Lisa. The club smashed into the matting where she had been standing a second before. Recovered quickly and swung again, a horizontal strike aimed at her ribs. Lisa ducked under it, her staff already moving in a counterattack toward his knee. Blocked with his forearm, grunted at the impact, and shoved forward with his shoulder. Lisa rolled backward and came up on her feet, her staff held in a defensive position. The fight continued for another minute, pressed hard, using his size and strength to dominate the space. Lisa gave ground, always moving, never staying still long enough for him to land a solid hit. She was reading him. Every fighter had patterns, habits tells, favored his right side. He pulled back slightly before big strikes. He dropped his guard when he thought he had her cornered, all useful information. The crowd was getting louder. They thought was winning because Lisa kept retreating. They did not understand that she was choosing when and where to engage. That was the difference between fighting and combat. Fighting was about strength. Combat was about efficiency. Lunged forward with another overhead strike, putting all his weight behind it. This time, Lisa did not dodge. She stepped into the attack inside his reach where the club had no power. Her staff snapped up, striking his wrist hard enough to numb it. The war club dropped from his hand. Before could react, Lisa's staff swept his legs. He fell hard onto his back, the air knocked from his lungs. Lisa's staff was at his throat before he could move. The arena went completely silent. "Yield," Lisa said quietly. Stared up at her, his yellow eyes wide with shock. For several seconds he did not move. Then slowly he nodded. "I yield." Lisa stepped back and lowered her staff. She offered her hand to help him up. After a moment's hesitation, took it and pulled himself to his feet. Professor's voice cut through the shocked silence. "The duel is concluded. Lisa Morgan is victorious." The crowd erupted in noise. Some were cheering. Others were arguing about what they had just seen, was jumping up and down with all four arms raised high. Rubbed his wrist and looked at Lisa with a mix of respect and confusion. "How did you do that? I am stronger and faster than you." "Yes," Lisa agreed. "But strength and speed are not everything. You fight like a warrior, I fight like a survivor. There is a difference." "What difference?" "Warriors fight for honor, survivors fight to live. We use whatever works." Lisa handed her staff back to the equipment rack. "You are very skilled. In a fair fight between warriors, you would win. But I was not fighting fair. I was fighting to end the threat as quickly as possible." Was quiet for a long moment. Then he placed his fist over his heart, a gesture of respect. "I underestimated you, human. I will not make that mistake again." "Good," Lisa said. "Can I go now? I have studying to do." That night, Lisa could not sleep. The duel had gone as she expected, but it had also stirred up memories she had worked hard to bury. Fighting had been easy compared to fighting for survival in the wilderness. Easy compared to the nights when she was 14, alone in the ruins of her colony, wondering if rescue would ever come. She got out of bed and went to her computer. For 2 years, she had avoided looking up information about what had happened to the colony. It was too painful. But now, with her past threatening to surface, she needed to know if anyone else remembered. She typed in the search terms and waited. The results were sparse. The colony had been small, not important enough for major news coverage. Most of the articles were old, from 5 years ago when the attack happened. Pirate raid, 63 dead, 15 survivors evacuated, station destroyed. Lisa's name was on the survivor list, along with a note that she had been found 3 weeks after the attack, having survived alone in the wilderness. There was a psychological evaluation attached that she had never read. She opened it now. Subject displays unusual calmness regarding traumatic events. Responses to questioning are factual but emotionally detached. Recommendation: extended counseling and monitoring for delayed trauma response. Lisa closed the file. The evaluation was wrong. She was not emotionally detached. She felt everything. Fear, anger, grief, loss, she just did not show it. Showing emotion had never helped anyone survive. A message notification popped up on her screen. It was from Professor, sent just minutes ago despite the late hour. "Lisa, please come to my office tomorrow at noon. We need to discuss your future here at the university." Lisa stared at the message for a long time. She knew what it meant. Her performance in the duel had been too skilled, too efficient. People would ask questions. They would investigate her background. They would find out about the colony, about her survival, about the things she had done to stay alive. She had wanted peace. She had wanted to be a normal student, but normal was not something she could. Lisa arrived at Professor's office exactly at noon. The door was open, but she knocked anyway. "Come in, child," said from behind his desk. His office was filled with artifacts from dozens of worlds, each one a reminder of his 3 centuries of life and travel. Lisa sat in the chair across from him and waited. She had learned that silence was often the best approach when facing unknown situations. Studied her for a long moment. "You are not afraid," he observed. "Most students would be nervous, wondering if they are in trouble, but you simply sit and wait. Why is that?" "Because fear does not change outcomes," Lisa said. "Either I am in trouble or I am not. Being nervous will not help." A practical philosophy, very human, I suspect. Pulled up a holographic display. "I accessed your admission records last night. They are quite sparse. No family listed. Home address listed as simply Earth, Australia region. Previous education from remote tutoring programs. Recommendation letters from people who no longer seem to exist at the addresses provided. Lisa said nothing. The records were not fake exactly, just carefully constructed to avoid attention. So I searched deeper, continued, and I found a news article from 5 years ago about a colony called about a pirate raid, about survivors. He looked at her directly. About a 14-year-old girl who survived 3 weeks alone in one of the harshest environments on Earth while waiting for rescue. That information is not classified, Lisa said calmly. I did not lie on my application. No, you did not lie. You simply provided minimal truth. There is a difference. Closed the holographic display. Why are you here, Lisa? At this university, I mean. Someone with your survival skills could work for any security force in the galaxy. You could make a fortune as a consultant. Instead, you chose to study xenobiology at a peaceful university. Why? Lisa was quiet for a moment, choosing her words carefully. Because I am tired of survival. I have been surviving since I was born. I want to do something else. I want to learn. I want to help people understand different species. I want a life that is not about fighting to see tomorrow. A noble goal, said, but survival is not something you can simply choose to stop. It is part of who you are now. The way you handled the Viper, the way you fought, these are not skills that go away because you wish them to. I know, but I can choose not to let them define me. Smiled the first smile Lisa had seen from him. Wise words. Very well, you are not in trouble. I simply wanted to understand, and to offer you something. He pulled up another display, this one showing a research position at the university. We need a safety consultant for the biocontainment facility, someone who can assess threats and respond to emergencies. The pay is modest, but it would give you practical experience and help with your tuition. Lisa read through the job description. It was exactly the kind of thing she had been trying to avoid. A position that would use her survival skills, that would remind her daily of what she was capable of. But it would also help people. It would prevent accidents. It would mean that what happened with the Viper would not happen again. I will think about it, Lisa said. Please do, and Lisa, one more thing. You are not alone here. If you ever need to talk about what happened at Colony, my door is open. Thank you, Professor. Lisa left the office feeling strangely lighter. Someone knew her secret now, and instead of judgment, she had found understanding. Maybe peace was not about forgetting the past. Maybe it was about accepting it while building something new. That feeling lasted exactly 3 hours. She was in the student commons, reviewing notes when the emergency alerts started blaring. Every screen in the building switched to the same message, unknown vessel in orbit. All students report to designated safe areas. Security protocols in effect. Blue skin went pale. What is happening? I do not know, Lisa said, but something cold was settling in her stomach. Prime was a protected world. Ships did not just arrive unannounced. This was wrong. The screens changed again, showing a new message. This one was not from university security. It was from the ship in orbit. A face appeared on the screens. It was a species known for their mercenary work and lack of concern for laws. The being's skin was gray and scaled, his eyes dark and cold. Attention Galactic Zenith University, they said. My name is Captain. We are searching for an escaped prisoner who we believe is hiding at your institution. We have legal authority from the Galactic Council to conduct this search. Cooperate and no one will be harmed. Resist and we will use force. You have 1 hour to prepare for our arrival. The screens went black. The commons erupted in panic. Students were running, shouting, trying to contact family on other worlds. The university had no military, no real security beyond what was needed to handle minor incidents. They were not prepared for this. Lisa stood up slowly. Something about this was wrong, very wrong. Escaped prisoners were handled by official law enforcement, not mercenary crews. And the way had smiled when he said no one would be harmed, that was the smile of someone who enjoyed lying. We need to go to the safe areas, said, pulling at Lisa's arm. Come on. You go, Lisa said. I need to check something. Check what? Lisa, this is not the time for you to do something brave and stupid. Lisa turned to her friend. I need you to trust me. Go to the safe area, stay with the group. Do not draw attention to yourself. I will meet you there soon. Where are you going? To find out what is really happening here. Before could argue more, Lisa was moving. Not toward the safe areas like everyone else, but toward the administration building. If it was really here on legal authority, there would be records, communications, some kind of official documentation. She found Professor in his office, already searching through files on his computer. "You should be in a safe area," he said without looking up. "So should you," Lisa replied. "What have you found?" His expression was grim. "Nothing. No communication from the Galactic Council. No arrest warrants filed. No official notices of any kind. This captain has no legal authority here." "So he is lying. Why?" "I do not know, but I intend to find out." Pulled up a communication channel. "I am contacting the university president now. We need to alert proper authorities." Lisa watched the screen as sent the message. Then she watched as the message was blocked. Every outgoing communication was being jammed. "They cut us off," she said quietly. "It appears so," stood up, his 3 centuries of life suddenly showing in his movements. "This is very bad, Lisa. If they have blocked communications, they are not planning to follow any laws." "What could they want here? This is a university. There is nothing valuable." "Perhaps the escaped prisoner story is true, and they simply do not care about legal authority, or perhaps they are looking for something else entirely." Moved to his window, which looked out over the campus. In the distance, a ship was descending through the atmosphere. It was large and heavily armed. "Either way, we are in danger." Lisa joined him at the window. Her mind was already working through possibilities, strategies, ways to protect people. It was the same mindset that had kept her alive in the wilderness. Assess the threat, identify resources, plan for worst-case scenarios. "How many students are on campus?" she asked. "Nearly 800, plus faculty and staff." "And the safe areas can hold all of them?" "In theory, yes. They are reinforced buildings designed to withstand natural disasters, but they were never meant to resist a military assault." The ship landed on the main quad, its engines scorching the grass. A ramp lowered, and armed figures began emerging. They were various species, all wearing matching armor and carrying weapons that were definitely not non-lethal. "They are not here to search," Lisa said. "They are here to take." "But take what?" Lisa did not have an answer. But she knew, with the same certainty that had guided her through 3 weeks of hell 5 years ago, that people were going to die unless someone did something. "Professor, I need you to get to a safe area. Help organize the students, keep them calm." "What are you going to do?" "What I am good at, survive." Lisa headed for the door, "and help others survive too." "Lisa, you cannot fight a mercenary crew alone. You are one person." She paused at the doorway and looked back at him. "I know, but one person who knows what she is doing is better than nothing. And Professor, if I do not make it back, please tell that I tried." Before could respond, Lisa was gone, running through the empty hallways of the administration building. She needed to get closer to the mercenaries to understand what they were really after. Knowledge was survival. Information was power. She made it to the main quad by using maintenance corridors and staying low. From her hiding spot behind a decorative wall, she could see crews spreading out across campus. They were organized and professional. This was not their first raid. Himself stood near the ship, talking to one of his subordinates. Lisa was too far away to hear the conversation, but she could read body language, was angry about something, impatient. Then she saw what made her blood run cold. One of the mercenaries was carrying a scanner device, the kind used to detect specific energy signatures, and the scanner was pointing toward the biocontainment facility, the same facility where she had stopped the Viper, the same facility where Professor worked. They were not looking for a person. They were looking for something at the biocontainment facility. Lisa made it back to Professor's office using the same maintenance corridors. The old professor was still there, trying different communication channels and finding them all blocked. "They are going to the biocontainment facility," Lisa said, slightly out of breath. "They have scanners. They are looking for something specific." His face went very still. "Oh no." What is there?" The professor opened a locked drawer in his desk and pulled out a small crystal about the size of Lisa's thumb. It glowed with a faint blue light. "This," said quietly, "I found it 3 months ago in the belongings of a student who was expelled for illegal trading. I confiscated it and have been trying to determine its origin. I kept it in the biocontainment facility because it emits strange energy readings that interfere with other equipment." Lisa took the crystal carefully. It was warm to the touch. What is it? I believe it is a data storage device from a human military research facility. The encryption is beyond anything I can break, but the energy signature is definitely human in origin. Looked older than his 3 centuries. If I am correct, this contains classified information. Very valuable, very dangerous information. About what? I do not know for certain, but given where it was found and the security measures protecting it, I suspect it contains military data, possibly about Earth's defensive capabilities or survival training methods. Lisa understood immediately. Information about how humans survived on a Class 12 would be incredibly valuable to military forces across the galaxy. That knowledge could be used to train soldiers, develop new survival techniques, or understand human weaknesses. Is not working alone, she said. Someone told him this was here, someone who knew you confiscated it. The expelled student, most likely. He would have known I took it, though he could not have known I moved it to the biocontainment facility. Put the crystal back in the drawer and locked it. We need to get this off campus. If finds it, he will have no reason to leave anyone alive. Can you destroy it? Not without proper equipment. The crystal is designed to survive extreme conditions. That is part of what makes it valuable. Moved to his window and looked out at the mercenaries spreading across campus. They will search every building systematically. It is only a matter of time before they come here. Lisa's mind was racing through options. They could not communicate with outside authorities, they could not destroy the crystal, and they could not let find it. What if we give him something else? She said slowly. What do you mean? He is using scanners to search for the energy signature. What if we create a false signature somewhere else? Draw him away from the real crystal while we figure out how to get help. Considered this? It might work, but I would need equipment from the laboratory to create a convincing fake. And that laboratory is across campus, past where the mercenaries are searching. Then I will go get it. Tell me what you need. Lisa, they have weapons. They have armor if they see you. They will not see me. Lisa was already planning the route in her head. I have spent my entire life avoiding things that wanted to kill me. Mercenaries are just another predator. Tell me what you need, Professor. Realized she was serious. He pulled up a schematic of the laboratory. The energy modulator in Lab Room 3B, it is a small device, silver with blue indicators, and the portable power cell from the storage closet. With those, I can create a false signature strong enough to fool their scanners. Lisa memorized the locations. How long can you keep the false signature active? Perhaps 30 minutes, maybe an hour if we are lucky. That should be enough. When I get back, we will plant the fake signature in a building far from here. While they are busy searching it, we can move the real crystal to a safer location. And then what? And then we wait for their communications jamming to fail. No technology is perfect. Eventually, they will make a mistake and we can get word out. Lisa moved to the door, then paused. Professor, if something happens to me, make sure the students stay hidden. Do not let anyone try to be a hero. Lisa, promise me. Nodded slowly. I promise, but please be careful. Careful is what I do best. The journey across campus was like being back in the Australian wilderness, except the predators wore armor and carried energy weapons. Lisa moved from cover to cover, using landscaping, buildings, and shadows to stay out of sight. The mercenaries were efficient but not perfect. They moved in predictable patterns, checking buildings in sequence. Lisa used those patterns, staying ahead of their search grid and timing her movements between their sweeps. She made it to the science building and slipped inside through a maintenance entrance. The hallways were empty and silent. Everyone had evacuated to the safe areas as ordered. The only sounds were her footsteps and the distant echo of the mercenaries outside. Lab Room 3B was on the second floor. Lisa took the stairs 2 at a time, her training from years of running through rough terrain making it easy. The lab door was unlocked. Inside, equipment hummed quietly, experiments left running when everyone evacuated. She found the energy modulator exactly where it said it would be. It was smaller than she expected, easily fitting in her pocket. The power cell was heavier, but she could carry it. Lisa was leaving the lab when she heard voices in the hallway. Mercenaries, moving through the building and checking each room. She had maybe 30 seconds before they reached this corridor. There was another exit at the far end of the lab, leading to a connecting hallway. Lisa went that direction, moving quickly but quietly. Behind her, she heard the lab door open and voices speaking in a language she did not recognize. She made it to the connecting hallway and pressed herself against the wall, barely breathing. The mercenaries were thorough, checking every corner of the lab. If they decided to check this hallway too, she had nowhere to hide. Time stretched. Lisa counted her heartbeats, slow and steady. Fear was useless. Panic got you killed. Stay calm. Wait for the opportunity. The voices faded. The mercenaries moved on to the next lab. Lisa waited another full minute, then continued her escape route. She made it back to the maintenance corridors and from there back across campus to the administration building. Was relieved to see her. I was beginning to think. I am fine here. Lisa handed him the equipment. How long to set up the false signature? 10 minutes. Hands moved quickly, connecting the modulator to the power cell and adjusting settings. Where should we plant it? Lisa pulled up a campus map on the professor's computer. The old gymnasium. It is on the far side of campus from here, and the building is large enough that it will take them time to search completely. Good thinking, finished his preparations. The device now emitted the same energy signature as the crystal. I will need to place this personally to ensure it works properly. No, tell me how to activate it, and I will place it. You need to stay here and coordinate with the students. Lisa, you have already taken enough risks. And I am still alive because I know how to take smart risks. This is smart. One person moving fast is harder to spot than two. Lisa looked at him seriously. Besides, if something goes wrong, the students will need you. They barely know me. Wanted to argue but recognized the logic. Very well. The activation switch is here. Press it once to activate, twice to deactivate. The indicator light will show green when it is working. Lisa took the device and slipped it into her bag along with the power cell. Give me 20 minutes, then check if their search pattern shifts toward the gymnasium. Be safe, child. That is always the plan. The second trip across campus was harder than the first. The mercenaries had expanded their search pattern, and there were more of them now. Lisa had to wait several times, crouched behind cover, as armed figures passed within meters of her position. She used every trick she had learned surviving in the wilderness. Move when they are looking away. Stay downwind so scent-based trackers miss you. Use shadows and background to break up your outline. Be patient. Patient predators live longer. It took 30 minutes instead of 20, but she made it to the old gymnasium. The building was dark and empty. Lisa placed the false signature device in the equipment storage room, buried under old athletic gear where the scanners would detect it, but finding it would take time. She activated the device. The indicator glowed green. Now scanners would show a strong energy signature here instead of in the administration building where the real crystal was. Lisa was leaving through the side exit when she saw them. A group of mercenaries, 5 of them, moving directly toward the gymnasium. The false signature was already working. They had detected it. But they were between her and the route back to the administration building. Lisa assessed her options. She could wait here and hope they did not find her, but that would leave Professor wondering what had happened. She could try to circle around them, but that would take time and more mercenaries were arriving. Or she could create a distraction and run. Running was dangerous, but waiting was also dangerous. And Lisa had learned long ago that when all choices were bad, you picked the one that gave you the most control. She found what she needed in the gymnasium's maintenance closet. Old cleaning supplies, including a bottle of industrial solvent that would burn hot and fast. She poured it in a line near the back entrance, far from where she had planted the device. Then she used a chemical igniter from the same closet to light it. The solvent caught immediately, producing thick black smoke and visible flames. Alarms started blaring. The Lisa did not jump to her death. She jumped to the 5th-floor balcony directly below the roof edge. It was a 3-meter drop, dangerous but survivable if you landed right. She hit the balcony railing and grabbed it, her momentum swinging her around and through the open window into the 5th-floor hallway. Behind her, she heard shouting and the sound of the mercenaries scrambling to follow. But they were in heavy armor, not designed for that kind of movement. She had bought herself maybe 30 seconds. Lisa ran down the hallway, her mind racing. The distress signal had transmitted for at least 10 seconds before they stopped her. That might be enough. Help could be coming, but it could also take hours to arrive. She needed to stay alive that long, and she needed to keep the crystal away from. She took the stairs down, moving fast but listening for pursuit. The mercenaries would expect her to head for an exit, so she did the opposite. She went down to the basement level, to the old maintenance tunnels that connected the administration building to other parts of campus. The tunnels were dark and dusty. They smelled like old concrete and stale air. Lisa used the light from her to navigate, following signs that pointed toward different buildings. She chose the path to the student commons, figuring it would have the most exits and the most places to hide. She was halfway through the tunnel when her rang. It was, "Lisa, are you safe?" "For now, they found me on the roof, but I got away. Did my transmission get through?" "Yes, I picked it up on the emergency systems. It was brief, but it should have been enough for anyone monitoring distress frequencies." His voice was tense. "But Lisa is furious. He is ordering his mercenaries to find you at any cost. He knows someone interfered with his jamming." "Good, let him waste time chasing me instead of searching for the crystal." "Where are you?" "Maintenance tunnels under the administration building. I am heading toward the student commons." Lisa paused at a junction, checking both directions. "How are the students?" "Frightened but safe. The safe areas are holding, has not tried to break into them yet." "He will not. He does not want to deal with 800 potential hostages. He just wants the crystal." Lisa made a decision. "Professor, I need you to do something for me." "What?" "If help arrives and I am not there, tell them the truth about what happened here. About the crystal, about everything. Make sure people know that you tried to protect it." "Lisa, what are you planning?" "To keep running until help arrives. And if it does not arrive in time, to make sure Never gets what he came for." "Please be careful." "I will try." Lisa ended the call and kept moving. The tunnel exit to the student commons was ahead, a metal door with a simple lock. She opened it carefully and looked out. The commons was dark and empty. Tables and chairs sat abandoned. Half-finished meals and open showed how quickly everyone had evacuated. Lisa moved through the space, staying low and quiet. She was near the main exit when she saw lights outside. Mercenaries, lots of them, surrounding the building. They were setting up some kind of scanning equipment. Lisa understood immediately. They were scanning for the crystal's energy signature, and she was carrying it. If she stayed here, they would find her in minutes. She needed to move the crystal somewhere safe, somewhere they could not scan, somewhere with interference that would mask its signature. The biocontainment facility. It was risky. The facility had lots of energy signatures from the various specimens and equipment. The crystal might blend in with all that interference. But it was also isolated, far from the safe areas where students were hiding. If things went wrong, at least she would not endanger anyone else. Lisa used the tunnels again, this time heading toward the science complex. It took 20 minutes of careful movement, always listening for pursuit, always ready to run or hide. The biocontainment facility was quiet when she arrived. Emergency lights cast red shadows across the walls. The containment cells hummed with power, each one holding creatures from different worlds. Lisa went to the environmental control room, a small office filled with monitors and systems that managed temperature, atmosphere, and security for the entire facility. She placed the crystal in a shielded equipment locker, where its signature would be masked by the control system's own energy output. Then she sat down at the main console and started thinking. Help was coming, she had to believe that. But until it arrived, she needed to keep busy. Keep him searching in the wrong places. Keep him away from the students and away from the crystal. An idea formed. It was dangerous and probably stupid. But it was also the kind of thing that might work precisely because it was so unexpected. Lisa accessed the facility's announcement system. It connected to speakers throughout the entire campus. She took a breath, then pressed the transmit button. "Captain," she said, her voice broadcasting across every speaker on campus. "My name is Lisa Morgan. I am a student here, and I have what you are looking for." She paused, letting that sink in. "You want the data crystal from the human military facility. I know what it contains. Information about Earth, about how humans survive about our training and tactics. Very valuable to someone like you." Another pause. "Here is my offer. I will give you the crystal and you leave. No one gets hurt. No more searching. You get what you came for and 800 innocent students get to live." One more pause. Meet me at the biocontainment facility in 1 hour. Come alone. If I see any other mercenaries, the deal is off and I destroy the crystal. I know you think I am bluffing, but I survived 3 weeks alone in the Australian outback after my colony was destroyed. I know how to destroy things, and I know how to survive. Lisa ended the transmission. It was a gamble, might not come alone, he might not come at all. But she had given him a clear target, and she had challenged his pride by mentioning the colony. If he had any information about her background, he would know about colony. He would know she was serious. Now she just had to prepare. The biocontainment facility was designed to be secure. That meant reinforced walls, controlled entry points, and environmental systems that could be adjusted from the main control room. Lisa spent the next 40 minutes turning it into a trap. She adjusted the lighting systems, creating dark zones and bright zones that would confuse vision. She modified temperature controls, making some sections freezing cold and others dangerously hot. She opened certain containment cells remotely, releasing specimens into specific corridors where they would create obstacles without actually endangering the safe areas where students were hiding. It was not a perfect plan, but perfect plans were rare. You worked with what you had. Exactly 1 hour after her transmission, the facility's main entrance opened. Captain entered alone, as she had demanded. He was tall for his gray scales marked with scars from old fights. His weapon was holstered but within easy reach. His dark eyes scanned the facility with professional caution. "Human student," he called out. "I am here. Where is the crystal?" Lisa watched him from the control room cameras. She had expected him to come alone. What she had not expected was the small device he was carrying. A scanner, small and portable, more advanced than the ones his mercenaries had been using. He was still searching for the crystal's signature. The deal was a lie. He planned to take the crystal and kill her anyway. Lisa was not surprised, but she was disappointed. Part of her had hoped he might be reasonable. That hope died quickly. She activated the first trap. The lighting in the main corridor failed, plunging into darkness. At the same time, she opened a containment cell, releasing a shock lizard into the corridor behind him. The shock lizard was not lethal, but its electrical discharge was extremely painful. In the darkness, did not see it until it was too late. The lizard struck, electricity arcing through his armor, screamed and fired his weapon blindly, missing the lizard completely. Lisa used the distraction to move. She left the control room and headed deeper into the facility, toward the specimen storage area. It was the most complicated part of the building, with multiple corridors, storage rooms, and environmental zones. Recovered and followed, his weapon drawn. He was limping slightly from the shock lizard's attack, but he was still dangerous. "Clever human," he called out, his voice echoing through the facility. "But tricks will not save you. I have been hunting dangerous prey for 30 years. You are just a child playing games." Lisa did not respond. She was too busy setting her next trap. She had reached the cold storage section, where specimens from ice worlds were kept. The temperature here was -40 degrees. Lisa had dressed warmly before making her announcement, wearing maintenance coveralls and thermal gear from the facility's emergency supplies. In his standard armor was not prepared for this environment. She adjusted the environmental controls, dropping the temperature even further and increasing air circulation. Frost formed instantly on every surface. The cold was brutal, even with her preparation. Entered the cold storage section and immediately realized his mistake. His armor did not have proper thermal insulation for this extreme. In minutes, he would be hypothermic. He tried to retreat, but Lisa had locked the doors behind him remotely. "You want to know about Earth?" Lisa's voice came from speakers in the ceiling. "About how humans survive. We survive because we understand our environment. We use it. We adapt to it." Fired at the speakers, destroying them, but Lisa had already moved on. She led him through the facility for the next 20 minutes, using every trap, every environmental hazard, every dangerous specimen she could deploy safely. The shock lizard was joined by a burrower that attacked from below and a swarm of buzz flies that targeted exposed skin. Was a professional, he adapted to each challenge, but each adaptation took time and energy. He was getting slower, more cautious. His earlier confidence was gone, replaced by growing concern. Finally, Lisa led him to the central specimen hall, a large open space with containment cells on all sides. She stepped out from behind a support pillar, standing in plain sight in the center of the room. Raised his weapon immediately. "Where is the crystal?" he demanded. Mercenaries turned toward the fire, shouting commands to each other. Lisa used the distraction to slip past them, moving quickly along the edge of the building and then across open ground toward the nearest cover. Behind her, she heard more shouting. Some of the mercenaries were trying to fight the fire. Others were entering the building to search despite the smoke. She made it to the administration building and found waiting anxiously. Valuable enough to bring a fully armed mercenary crew to a protected world. Lisa needed to warn, but more than that, she needed to figure out what they were searching for. Because if found it, she had a feeling he would not leave any witnesses behind to report what happened here. B, no matter how far she ran from Earth. She typed back a simple response, "Yes, Professor, I will be there." Then she turned off the computer and lay back down in bed, staring at the ceiling and waiting for a sleep that would not come. But she also knew that she had revealed something about herself, a small crack in the carefully constructed image of the quiet, normal student. People would remember what she had done. They would wonder about her. They would ask questions. And questions, Lisa knew from hard experience, always led to places she did not want to go.